C10 Talk, episode 136. Holley LS Fest West, Las Vegas Motor Speedway.
The truck scene's way better than the car scene. The car scene's a bunch of old dudes. The truck scene's younger guys, and it's way more fun. The get-togethers are way cooler, and I don't know, it just kind of fit.
Damn, son. When you think air suspension for your build, you think AccuAir. Whether it's the ease of their plug-and-play installation, the E-Level touchpad, or their new Endo platform, it's better by design, and it's zero compromise for you and your truck. AccuAir. Whether you're looking to replace your original steering, update those old brakes, or improve your suspension and handling, Classic Performance Products has got your classic truck covered. Check them out at classicperform.com. That's classicperform.com. When it comes to upgrading your truck's gauges, look no further than Dakota Digital and their wide selection of direct fit instrument systems. Hit up dakotadigital.com for more information. If you're looking for aftermarket parts for your C10 truck, Pro Performance is your go-to source. They carry the top brands for wheels, brakes, suspension, and accessories. Check them out on the web at azproperformance.com. That's azproperformance.com.
Welcome to C10 Talk, your C10 Truck podcast. Here's your host, Ronnie Wetch.
All right. What up, C10 Nation? Little LS Fest West up in Vegas. Great times, great people. We made the trek up there. Got up early Friday morning. A couple of the fellas, Big Ten Bowman, Chevy Only Dino, Johnny G, Dave Rob Can, my son, Johnny's son, and we loaded up. And next thing you know, 5 hours later, you're in Vegas. It's a nice thing about Phoenix is it's close. It's an easy drive, and it's actually a nice drive. Made it up there Friday, got situated, and the shenanigans were already going. You know, a lot of burnouts, a lot of horsepower, just smell of rubber. You know, everything's going on. Fuel, there's races, there's drags, there's burnouts, donuts, dirt road, asphalt, drag, you name it, they got it. It's a good time for sure. Again, it's like that, you know, what you wanted to do in high school, you're just getting away with it in one place up there in Las Vegas Motor Speedway. The cool thing about LS Fest for us is the LS motor, the power plant, the drivetrain is such an important part of the restoration process nowadays. So getting to talk to some of those vendors, it was good. You know, John from PSI, and then this crazy thing with this Nissan 6-speed is another entity that to think about. And if you're not going to go with a T56, maybe it's money, and maybe from a performance perspective, you're thinking, hey, this Nissan transmission is going to hold up. So a lot of good information. Got some other fun interviews. Erin from Magnuson, that was fun to talk to her and kind of see that maiden voyage with her truck Dolly. We've seen that truck from the very beginning when she bought it, how excited she was with the truck, and then to put a 6.0 in it, supercharge it, and take us for a ride, put us in our seat. So that was fun. All in all, great weekend. We got out of there early Sunday. The show does continue throughout Sunday, but we wanted to make it home. So if you're on the West Coast and you can make it, LS Fest West, it's a fun show. I promise you won't be let down. If you're into, you know, autocross, you're into the burnouts, you're into the drifting, speed, quarter mile, dirt track, they've got it. Holley LS Fest West, good times. Let's see here. I did have a call-in. I kind of like that, so I had a call-in. I'm going to play that call-in. And Miguel, thanks for calling in. I'll reach out to you. You're going to get a free shirt for that. So for the audience, if you go to our C10Nation.com, C10Nation.com, on the right side it says, like, leave a voicemail. You push it and you leave a voicemail. If I play it, you're going to get a free shirt. So Miguel left a voicemail. I'm going to put it in right here.
Hey y'all, I was wondering if y'all could interview this youngster on YouTube. He goes by the name Young Chevy Truck. He's got the right attitude and stuff, and he's literally learning from scratch. It might be good for a show. All right.
Thanks, Miguel, for that. I looked at the YouTube. He's got, let me see here. I looked at it. I checked out a couple of them. Let me click over here. He's got 5,385 subscribers and 154 videos. And pretty detailed. Young guy. Looks like he's working on an 84 Chevy truck. So he's on the list, Miguel. I'll add him on there. So thanks for reaching out and leaving us that voicemail. C10 Builder's Guide is out. Tons and tons of information. They did a great job of covering the eastbound and down to the throwdown. If you don't subscribe to the C10 Builder's Guide, you should. They have a cool package you can get with not only the Builder's Guide, but you'll get street trucks as well. And so they're, I'm not sure if they were thinking about putting 4 Builder's Guides out, but it looks like you're going to get 3 Builder's Guides. And then obviously you get 12 street trucks. So they got a deal worked out where you get a package combo. You can get online. That's going to be Engaged, ENGAGED, Engaged Media Mags, plural, mags.com. Combo _ STCBG, so Street C10 Builder's Guide, I believe. STCBG. So check it out, engagedmediamags.com. Another fun thing that I just got home today and got in the mail is the C10 Crew coloring book. They did this about 3 years ago, and it is jam-packed with rad trucks. So the kids can color, the adults can color, you can color, whoever you are, you want to color. There's about 50 of them. Let me look here. Yep, 52. And some really, pretty much all eras, which is cool. So many different styles. You've got some R-Tech. You've got some River City, some Dixon, a TMI. I'm just flipping through it here. CPP. You've got Ride Tech is in there. Obviously, C10 Talk is in there. American Racing, US Mag, C10 Club, and the list goes on and on. So tons of rad trucks, tons of fun things to color for the kids or the adults. If you want to mess around and kind of do your own style of rendering, you can get online at c10crew.com, or you can also go on Instagram and they have C10 Crew Store. That's available as well. So the coloring book, the builder's guide, I got the voicemail. Let's see here. What else? Oh, a couple shows. So Southeast Square Bodies, that's going to be August 10th. That's in Georgia. I believe this is their 3rd annual because we did talk about this last year. And working my way backwards here, I guess, GM Truck Nationals, which is going to be Brian Ashley's show. That's July 13th. That's in Tennessee. It looks like that's in Goodlettsville, Tennessee. I don't remember it being in Goodlettsville. I would have thought I would have remembered that name, but Goodlettsville, Tennessee, July 13th. And he even has it on his flyer. That's the biggest GM truck show east of the Mississippi. GM Truck Nationals, you can get on C10 Club Tennessee and check that out. Let's see here. The website is gmtruckshow.com. GM Truck Show. He also has it as Southeastern Truck Nationals. Southeastern Truck Nationals, I think, is what else he runs it under. Okay, now I got another one in June 21st and 22nd. Now let me click on this one, make sure I don't miss anything. This is Carlisle Chevy and GMC Truck Madness. This is June 21st and 22nd in Carlisle, Pennsylvania at the fairgrounds. So that sounds like another big one out there. Good weather, I'm sure. Carlisle Chevy and GMC Truck Madness. I don't know that he has an Instagram or anything like that to tie you to. Let me look here and see on his stuff if he's telling me where to go. I don't see it on here. Let me see here. His name is Seth. I'm going to hit it again here because I don't want to take any more time, but I need to dig a little deeper and see what Instagram or Facebook they have. But it's the Chevy and GMC Truck Invade Carlisle Fairgrounds, and that's in Carlisle, Pennsylvania. So that's on June 21st and 22nd. So you East Coast guys, you've got Pennsylvania, you've got Tennessee, and you've got Georgia. So we have got you covered. And it's pretty hot out here, so you'll have some fun out there. Now, out here, you're going to have the Brothers 21st Annual Show and Shine. That's going to be July 7th. They moved it from Father's Day, which was June 16th, to July 7th. That's a Sunday. And you can get on brotherstrucks.com. You can follow them on Instagram, and you get all the details. I know registration is open. They're going to cap it at $650. brotherstrucks.com. Check it out. Mullet prizes. I did a little mullet prize the other day. That was kind of fun. So we do have Brock Olibear. He's going to win the shirt, and then Chuck_C10 is going to win the sticker pack. So thanks for sending those mullet pics in. That was fun. I'll continue to try to do those. And so Miguel, you're getting a shirt. Brock, you're getting a shirt. And Chuck C10, you're getting a sticker pack. You guys, please take time to rate, review the show. Let us know how we're doing. You know how to get a hold of me, Ronnie at C10 Talk, Ronnie at C10 Talk. And I'll keep the shows coming. You keep listening. Remember to support those that support us, our sponsors. And we'll be back probably next week. I think I got a little bonus show for you guys. All right. Have a great week. Stay out of trouble. Do what you do. Late. LS Fest West 2019, starting it off with a bang. PSI, Performance Systems Integration. And we have John Vazzosi. I think the key, John, is really we have the reason why we're here, C10 Talk and the C10 Nation, is because so many people are putting LS motors in rad trucks, whether it's a C10, an OBS, hell, we saw a Volkswagen Beetle with 5.3 in it. So welcome to C10 Talk.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
We're glad to have you guys out here. Tell us about PSI and what you guys do for conversions of LS motors.
Sure. So PSI, we formed about 11 years ago in New Jersey. We design and manufacture wiring harnesses. That's our core business. However, we're a little bit more than that, and we've grown a little bit more into becoming the LS swap source, per se. So not only do we do wiring harnesses and controllers and computers, which is our core business still, but we're also a reseller for other items such as motor mounts, accessory drives, air conditioning systems, fuel tanks, fuel pumps, you name it. You can just come to us. It's one-stop shopping. All our stuff's made in America, and it offers full tech support over the phone if you have any questions during your LS swap. Because let's face it, it's kind of intimidating to a lot of people when they see an engine, but after that, they're used to a carburetor and distributor. They're not really sure what to do with the electronics that are associated with an LS motor.
So what do they do? Tell us. I mean, you nailed it. I mean, it's one of those things where it's like, oh, hey, I've got a GM, I've got an 04 5.3, I pulled it out of a Tahoe. It doesn't just go in?
Sure. No, you're correct. So what they do is, getting it in is kind of easy. We have motor mounts and we have things like that. So you're going to bolt it back in. It's very straightforward. It's similar to putting a small box Chevy in anything. However, once you get to the electronics, that's where it becomes a little bit more complicated, and that's where we come in. So what we do is we have standalone wiring harnesses. We have just about 100 end item part numbers for whatever LS combination or Frankenstein, as you will, you can come up with. We provide those harnesses. We have them on the shelf. They usually ship within 1 or 2 days from the time you order. And we're going to customize it to what you have. So you're not replacing parts to accommodate our harness. We're accommodating the parts that you have to help keep your cost down and keep your value up.
One of the things you just said was over 100 different part numbers, and that automatically builds anxiety. So I feel like what you guys have done is streamline the system. And within that, you're going to get the motor. You're going to have to send the ECU, right? I mean, or you're going to have to buy an ECU and tell your team at PSI, here's what I want to do with my truck or my car or whatever I'm converting. And then you will say, here's the harness. Here's how we're going to program it. Here's the tune. And we'll send it out to you.
Sure. So what we do is there's 2 ways you can do it. You can go on our website. There's a ton of information on there. Or the website itself is very streamlined. And it's going to walk you through the process of what you have. Now, if you're still uncertain, you just give us a call. We have people on staff that are willing to assist you, and they're going to go through a series of questions, ask you very, very basic, simple questions, and they're going to get you the right part number. Once we have the right part number, then you're going to have the option. Do you have somebody locally that's going to tune your computer for you? Do you have a computer? Do you have the right computer? If not, we're going to be able to give you a computer with a tune in it, with the correct operating system, and it'll be shipped right to your door, no core charge, with a full warranty, ready to run. All you do is plug it in, and, as we say, you wire it up and you fire it up.
To me, that's refreshing because it could be because a lot of the people that we follow that have high-end builds, they're always having computer problems. You're saying, hey, I can send out your audience a stock tune, and they're going to be able to drive their truck that day, in theory.
Correct. And it's very critical when it comes to the tunes to have the right operating systems on the computers. Whether it's a Gen 3 24X motor or a Gen 4 58X motor, engine and trans, the operating systems have to match. And that's something we pride ourselves on. We do a lot of R&D locally in order to try to make things break or not function correctly, so that way we can fix them, know why what's happening is happening. So that way, when a customer calls and says, hey, I have a question, this is what happens with my swap, PSI can take care of it. I mean, we have full tech support right over the phone. We're not the type of company where we're going to sell you a product and then never support it after the sale. We pride ourselves on that.
Okay, that's exactly what we want to hear. You said sell us a product. What kind of money are we talking?
Entry-level wiring harness, depending on the options, start around right around $549, and then they go all the way up depending on what you have. I mean, we sell the entire gamut from Gen 2 LT1 stuff from the 90s all the way up to the Gen 5 LT4 stuff. So we cover every single V8 Gen 2 to Gen 5 GM combination you can think of.
And when you say a harness, that includes a computer, correct?
No, we do sell computers as well. The computers typically can range anywhere from $150 up to $365, depending on what you're doing. That includes the computer itself, a base tune with the correct operating systems, and a full warranty.
Well, the one thing, let's walk over here. The way they have their booth set up is really nice because there's so many little things that are going to go with it. From your coolant system, your radiator, your gauges. Obviously, they got a Dakota Digital setup here. One of the things I always hear is, hey, what oil pan do I run? And am I going to bottom out? So tell us a little bit about what you have here.
So the oil pans that we have on display here are two of our most popular. We have the CTSV and we have the F-body. The CTSV is probably the more popular of the two. The nice thing about it is it's 5.5 cord capacity. It's a complete kit. It's GM part numbers. So you get the windage tray, the brand new gasket, the oil pan, the pickup tube, all the hardware, the dipstick. And it's going to fit in a GMA body. It's going to fit on your C10 truck. It's not going to hang too low like a typical truck oil pan will. That's one of the big problems when you get a truck engine is the Gen 3, Gen 4 truck oil pans are super deep sumps, and when you're trying to lower a C10, you're going to run into bottoming out issues if you leave it in a stock form. So the CTSV pan is a very popular seller for us. We do stock them, and it's very reasonably priced.
Well, and the F-body, because you have it here, looks even, whether it's lower, higher, or shallower, however you want to look, that term, but it definitely isn't going to hang. It looks like almost 2 inches. The CTS hangs 2 inches lower than the F-body pan.
Yes, but the CTSV, as you can look at it, the sump is further rearward, so it clears the saddle. It clears a cross member in a C10. The F-body, it has other specific applications that we use it for. Again, we just try to cover the whole gamut because when people call us up, we do have 100 wiring harness part numbers, but they're specific to the engine and trans, not the vehicle. So if you have transmission A and engine A, no matter what you put it in, it's going to be that same harness. And that's why we also try to cover the entire gamut of oil pans as well.
Kind of like a bonus coverage is what I'm hearing is, hey, we're going to give you the engine and trans setup, but then we really need to know what the hell it's going into. Yeah. And once we know what's going into a C10, we know that there's a cross member. We can kind of help facilitate, okay, what are you going to do with it? Here's what you need to run. How low are you going? Yeah. Are you bagged? Are you coil? Something like that. All right, let's walk over here. One thing I heard you talking about earlier, and it brought up, let me see, where were you? I think you were right here, and you were talking about, you might have been on the pedal side, but the drive-by wire. That's such a common term that explain that to the layperson when they're looking at a motor and that, is it a drive-by or is it not?
Sure. So drive-by wire, drive-by cable, those are your two options. Drive-by cable is your traditional throttle cable just like you had on a carburetor. Drive-by wire is electronic throttle pedals. So when it comes to GM LS motors, Gen 3, so the 24X engines, if it was a Corvette, they always had drive-by wire. The trucks got drive-by wire. They had their first generation of it, 01, 02, and then they went to a second generation from 03 to 07 in the 24Xs. Those specific types of drive-by wires required a specific pedal, specific throttle actuator control module or TAC module, specific tune, and a specific computer. So all of that stuff had to match, or else you'd get dead throttle issues. Fast forward to the Gen 4 58X stuff, so mid-07, let's say, everything went to integrated TAC controls into the computer. So everything that's 58X is going to be drive-by wire from the factory. Now, we do get customers that say, hey, I like drive-by cable. I want to go drive-by cable on my 58X engine. How do I do it? Well, we have a specific harness part number, a computer, and an interface module that will work for that setup.
So if I understand you correctly, 2007 and a half newer, but they want to go back to the 01 stuff.
That is correct. So if they want to go back to drive-by cable, some people it's just a feel thing. They like the idea of having a mechanical cable. It's not a problem. We have a plug-and-play harness, an interface module, and a computer and a base tune that's going to allow you to do that.
So what would you suggest to the audience if they were going to consider looking for a 5.3, looking for a 6.0, going to a junkyard? Is there a motor, a setup, a harness where you're like, ideally, if you can get an 04, it's an iron block, it's drive-by-wire, here's kind of the creme de creme?
I mean, it's really, it's all about planning, just like anything else. Just like you plan your suspension or you plan anything else on the vehicle, plan the engine. Look for what's within your budget. Do you really need an all-aluminum 5.3? They're hard to find, but do you really need that? Or can you get away with an iron block? Look at the mileage. I'm a firm believer in the lower the mileage. I'd rather get something with lower miles than something with higher miles if I'm not going to pull it apart.
What's lower miles?
I would say anything under 80,000. I mean, it's something you can throw right in there. You can clean it up. You don't have to take it apart. If you're not set on drive-by cable, I would look for a Gen 4 motor. I think the Gen 4 electronics are better. I think the drive-by wire is nicer. I think it offers a lot more options down the road. You have a better selection of transmissions. The 6-speed automatic is available with the Gen 4 stuff.
So that's going to be the 07.5?
Yes.
Okay.
58X is 07 and up. It's a CAN bus system, so you can run the 6-speed automatics, which is nice. I mean, they're very nice transmission.
I mean, the key is it's crazy. These motors are so bomb-proof, and they're abundant now. And I think even you look back 5 years ago when people were starting to do this, even further. But now you guys have got it dialed in. The C10 Nation, there's a plethora of options for them out there, and PSI is your source. So where do they find you? How do they get a hold of you?
Okay, so you can either find us online at psiconversion.com, or you can call us 732-444-3277. Again, you can talk to any one of our sales representatives or our tech support. We're there to help. I mean, it's not the easiest thing to figure out. We get plenty of phone calls where somebody calls up, they pick your brain for 10 minutes because they're trying to understand things. They get the lay of the land, and then you hear back from them a few weeks later and they're ready to order. I mean, we're here, obviously, we're in business to make money and to sell products, but we're also here to educate people. I mean, we have plenty of information on our website. We're also working on more technical videos and things of that nature in order to educate the populace, per se, because it is confusing, and there's a lot of misinformation out there, whether it's on message boards or other places. People just don't know, and we're not here to create stories. We're here to really just inform people, and then you make an informed decision.
What about somebody who is going to try to rewire the stock harness that they took out?
Sure. So harness rework, that's been around forever, before we were around. The first harness I ever did was for myself. I rewired a harness. It's absolutely possible. It's absolutely for certain people. What I say is what you're getting with PSI is you're getting value. You're getting a harness that's brand new with GM Delphi connectors, with GXL, TXL high temp wire to factory crimps. It's made in the USA, 100%, and you're getting tech support both before and after you buy it. And you're getting it at a reasonable price. There's one-stop shopping. We can, if you're looking for a computer, if you're looking for other items, we have them available. If you have a source on a set of fans that's used from a B-body or an F-body, you can go do that. Our harness is going to work with it. But you're getting value from us. You're getting something that hasn't been cycled a million times in a vehicle you've never seen before, which is where you got the engine from. It's going to lay out a heck of a lot nicer because it's putting everything under the dash as opposed to in the engine compartment like GM did it. And it just looks nicer, performs better, and it's going to last. And if you have questions, there's a warranty. There's people on the phone to answer those questions.
Sounds like about $1,000. You're going to get your harness. You're going to get your computer. For anything above and beyond, accessory, like you said, radiator, fans, gauges, all the bells and whistles. But just to give a price point for my audience, about $1,000. If you've got the time and the patience, and you want to try it yourself. My son, 17, he thinks he wants to try it himself. Me, I would never do it. Not only do I not have the patience, I don't have the time. So I think for the audience, it's been out there, it's been done, just like John said. But if you want what it sounds like is a proof positive system that's been out there. I know Johnny G, he swears by it, and I tend to believe him because he's done quite a bit of LS conversions. It sounds like you guys are the way to go. What about Instagram and social media?
Instagram, it's PSI Conversion, and same with Facebook, it's PSI Conversion. As far as, I just wanted to note one thing on the harnesses. The nice thing about our harness as well is it's a simple 4-wire hookup. Everything is laid out the way you want it to be laid out in your swap. So C10 especially, we give you 4 to 5 feet of length from the back of the cylinder head, no matter which harness we sell you. It's 4 to 5 feet from the back of the cylinder head to where you mount the computer, the fuse relay center, OBD2 port, gauge wiring, all that stuff is under the dash where it belongs. It's clean, it's out of sight, and it's where it's accessible. You run everything up through the engine compartment. Everything comes exactly where it needs to be. You hook up all your injectors, your coils, mass air, all the O2 sensors, everything you need. You hook up switch power, constant power at the starter, 2 grounds, wire it up, fire it up.
Ready to rock and roll.
Yep, that's correct.
Well, I'll take a picture of their setup here. It does look very clean. John, thanks for your time, and I hope to send some people over to you.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I appreciate it. Nice seeing you.
Have a good week out here.
You too.
Oh, we're under the shade, and it's feeling good. So, working our way along, and if you guys kind of listened to a few things that I've talked about with my son C10, he wanted to, or he is looking to, put a Nissan 6-speed behind his 5.3. And when you have a 16, 17-year-old who has these ideas, you kind of just go with it. Well, lo and behold, yesterday he went to the junkyard. He thought he had a Nissan 6-speed ready to go, and he came back home, and he didn't. We come out here today. LOJ Conversions is right next to PSI, and lo and behold again, they're the Nissan 6-speed transmission specialist, and they make the conversion. So, Stephen Dorick, LOJ Conversions, you guys are both out of New Jersey, so you guys came a long way. Welcome to the West, and welcome to C10 Talk.
Oh, thank you very much.
So what does LOJ do?
We basically make swap solutions. I don't like to say we make swap kits because I think that's a little too simple for how far we go with our products. You can buy one of our ultimate swap kits for like a 350Z, and if you buy that kit, the only other thing you need to put the car together is a crate motor. It's everything from harnesses, ECUs, fuel systems, full exhaust systems, intakes, radiators, hoses, heater hoses, the clamps, down to the littlest parts, everything's included. And it's a costly kit because of that, but it really makes the swap as simple as possible.
So for the C10 world, Chevy trucks, 60 to 87, and even the OBS world, a lot of guys are putting 5.3, 6.0s, any type of LS in their truck. Where does LOJ? What do you make that can help my audience?
Well, definitely our transmission adapters. I think that's the one product that's kind of universal for almost any platform, because a lot of guys want to build LS swap stuff with a manual transmission, but we all know how expensive T56s, TR6060s, they're like gold. And, a lot of Nissan transmissions, they're really strong. Like, we have an adapter plate for an older 90 to 96 Nissan 300ZX 5-speed. We've got one of those on display here, and we have adapters for the newer Nissan 350Z and 370Z 6-speeds. The 300 transmissions, we put 500-600 wheel horsepower through them all the time. The 350 and 370, up to 800 wheel, and they stand for it, stand up to it, no problem. But our adapter plates are really nice. They let you bolt those transmissions to the LS motors with no cutting to the bell housing, no modification to the motor that's, anything that's going to affect it. They include a billet flywheel. They include the adapter plate itself. If it's for a 350 or a 370, it'll include a high torque mini starter as well. So it's everything you need to bolt that trans on. And you can buy a brand new from Nissan 350Z transmission for $1,700. That's what people are asking for, high mileage used T56s and TR6060s. So used Nissan transmissions, I buy 300ZX transmissions used for $150, 350Z transmissions for between $300 and $500. So yeah, while the adapter plate itself might be a little costly up front, you only buy that once. And if you blow up a trans, go buy another junkyard trans for $150. Don't worry about your T56s and trying to get it rebuilt. So, if you're doing a build where you want a manual trans option other than a T56 or like an NV4500, I think the Nissan transmissions are a great option.
It's crazy because I just got this, brought to me or dropped in my lap 2 weeks ago when he's telling me this, and it sounds like, because we know T56s are gold. Right. And so you're saying, hey, or I guess let me ask you, how does this Nissan transmission 6-speed, how does it hold up to a T56?
I think in comparison to a standard T56 that you would get out of an F-body Camaro or a GTO, something like that, I think the Nissan Trans is actually a stronger transmission. And as far as shift feel and shift quality, like the actual driver interaction with the Trans, they feel much better, the more precise feeling. I'd put it on par with like the newer TR6060s and a T56 Magnum. They're right up there. At least the 350Z 6-speeds are. The other thing that's really nice about the Nissan transmissions, And you wouldn't think it's nice when you're talking about swaps. They're only a single overdrive, not a double overdrive like a T56. But let's face it, a lot of these older Chevy trucks and Chevy Camaros and whatever you're swapping into, they came with non-overdrive automatic transmissions in them. So from the factory, they have a tall rear gear ratio. Well, because you have a Nissan Trans that has a shorter first through fourth and only a single overdrive, it actually matches better with the tall rear gears that come in these truck stocks, so you're not worrying about re-gearing your rear. Whereas you put a T56 in a C10 that has like a 2-something rear ratio, and you got that 0.5 overdrive, it's almost too much gear to cruise down the highway. So like, basically, if you were to plot the gear ratios of a T56 Magnum on top of one of the Nissan 6-speeds, and the T56 Magnum had a 355 behind it, and the Nissan 6-speed had a 276, they actually overlay on top of each other perfectly. So it's like, the Nissan Trans with the 276 equals a T56 Magnum with the 355.
So you're going fast. Now you're saying rear gear ratio. Most trucks are probably going to be about a 354, 373. How does that work with the Nissan Transmission?
It still works really well, especially the trucks have taller tire diameters than like cars and all do. So if you've got like an overall 29-inch diameter, 28-inch diameter, or maybe even up to a 30, depending what you're running, what you're using the truck for, it works out really well. I mean, the sixth gear in the CD09, which is the 350Z transmission, is like a 0.75. So sixth in the Nissan Trans is the same as fifth in the T56. Okay. So
what's that run? What's an adapter, one of your LOJ conversions run, if you're going to put a 5.3 and you want to put it's the 350, are you calling it the 350Z 6-speed? What exactly is it called?
The Nissan code for that was the CD001, but that was actually like the actual part number was CD001, and they've revised that trans a number of times. So it's actually CD001 through 9, and then they even replaced that with the CD00A. But if you were to buy one brand new from Nissan, you'd get a CD00A. But if you get them used, it's actually stamped on the side of the trans what revision it is. They've gotten stronger over the years, better synchros. But that adapter kit for the CD transmission, it's the billet flywheel. It is a billet aluminum adapter plate itself, all the hardware, a pilot bushing, and a high torque mini starter. The cost for the whole package is $12.99. But let's face it, if you're getting a 5.3 out of a junkyard truck that you want to put into your C10, chances are it came out of an automatic vehicle, so you still got to go buy a flywheel. You might still have to go buy a starter anyway, and then you have to go buy your T56. When you add all those parts together, it really becomes a real value on running the adapter with the Nissan Trans as opposed to the T56.
Cool. A few other questions running through my mind. Sure. What about old school 350, small block?
Our adapters do bolt to those motors, but the flywheel is different. It's not a part that we stock, but our supplier will build them one off, and it's a $100 upcharge if you want to run an old 350 small block because the flywheel has to be custom made. And again, you're going to have to let us know, is it a first-gen external balance motor, a one-piece main, or a two-piece main, internal balance, external balance, all of that we need to know. And because there's so many options that way, we can't just produce one flywheel to fit them all, whereas the LS motors are all internally balanced. It's the same flywheel for all of them. We actually have adapters for the Gen 5 LT motors as well, and that's even better because some guys may or may not be aware that the LTs are so new, but the automatic trans LT motors that were in like pickup trucks, the crankshaft isn't drilled for a GM pilot bearing, so you can't actually put a T56 behind them, but our adapter puts the pilot in the location on the crank where the automatic trans torque converter would center. So you can use one of our adapters on one of those truck motors that was never designed to have a manual behind it and do nothing with the crankshaft. It works exactly as it is. So as far as putting manuals behind those motors, it's actually the only option without replacing the crank in the motor, and who really wants to do that? So,
well, yeah, to open it up and replace the crank just for that. What about a 454? Same principle?
Yeah, as long as the engine bolt pattern is the same as a Chevy bolt pattern, the adapters are drilled for first gen, second gen, third gen small, or first gen, second gen small block, third and fourth gen LS motors, fifth gen LT motors. Really, the difference is the flywheel. So we stock the flywheels for the LT swaps and the LS swaps. If you're building a big block or an old small block, we can have the flywheels made for you. And the lead time is about 2 weeks. It's not crazy to get one done. You've got to be a little patient. It's not in stock shipping the next day, but we can do it.
Okay. Comes a big one. Sure. So you said NV4500. What about a Cummins or the Nissan?
Got a nothing for the Cummins. I'm sorry.
So you can't put that Nissan. It can't handle it.
Oh man, Cummins makes a lot of torque. A lot of torque. I don't think I would do it.
Well, I just wonder because on NV4500 is going to be a 5-speed, whereas you can get a 6-speed. I was like, maybe that's the way to go. I'm just wondering if it could handle it. Probably not, but
At a lower horsepower, lower torque tune-up on the Cummins, yeah, it would handle it. But, we also make adapter plates for the Nissan Xterra and Frontier 6-speed manual, which internally shares the same architecture as the 350Z Trans, but it's a different bell housing. The shifter is located further forward and goes right into the top of the Trans instead of being on a linkage off the back. And the ratios are better for trucks that are doing off-road stuff, too. So that Trans I'd probably put behind the Cummins before the 350Z, and I'm sure we can make an adapter for that if somebody really wanted.
Cool. Yeah, it seems like you guys can make a little bit of everything.
Oh, we do.
So now my audience is sitting there thinking, wow, I need to dive into this Nissan 6-speed thing. Yep. Is there a year that you're recommending if they go to the junkyard, or if they try to find one, whether they buy it new, used, junkyard? Is there a year? You said CD 01, 02, 03. Is there one that you're like, hey, the synchro's on that? This is the best bang for your buck 6-speed transmission that they need to be looking for?
The best ones are the CD07s and later. They made the 7 transition in 05, 06. 03 was the first year. So the 350Z was produced from 03 to 06 with the CD transmission. 07 and 08 actually has a quote JK transmission in it. It's the 370Z Trans, came in early to the 350Zs. We have adapters for those as well. Same price as the 350Z adapter. All of those are great transmissions, the 370s. I mean, if you get a smoking deal on an 03, 04 Trans and it's low mileage, you're not planning on really banging gears and beating the crap out of it, it'll be fine. But like I said, if you're paying more than $500 for any of them used, you're paying a lot. I mean, they're readily available in scrap yards, eBay, things like that, to get them pretty cheap.
So you, after the 370, then what year did the 350s come back? And there's a desired year at that point?
It's a little hard to explain because of the way Nissan did things. The 350Z was made from 03 to 08. In 07, it got a new motor. When it got the new motor, it got the 370Z Trans. Then in 09, the 370Z came out. So 07, 08, 350Z, and 09 to 18, 370Z is all the same adapter.
Cool. So if you guys can keep that all straight, bottom line is something that I didn't even know about, and maybe you are just now finding out, a Nissan 6-speed behind an LS. If you want to go standard, it's something that you should probably look into. Sounds like it's something that can handle the torque, handle the horsepower. If you want that six gear, you want to bang gears, then LOJ is going to be your place. Anything else while I got you here that the C10 Nation might benefit from, something that you guys offer?
The only other thing we offer that I seem to be selling the heck out of to everybody, it's a little product we call a heater recirculation block. And it's actually installed in line with your heater hoses. And what a lot of LS guys have learned the hard way is that if you want to delete heat on an LS, you can't just block off the ports on the water pump. You have to loop the hose. Well, some older vehicles, and I don't know enough about the C10 to say if it is or isn't, or depending on generation, but some older heater cores, when you shut off the heat, it blocks flow through the heater core. And that ends up being just like blocking the water pump ports, and you can run into cavitation issues and overheat your motor. Our heater block installs in line between the heater core and the water pump outlets, and it's got a built-in bypass. So if you have one of these older heater core styles that blocks off flow completely, it gives a path for the coolant to flow so you don't run into those overheating issues. And we sell those to all sorts of guys, Ford guys that are doing LS swaps, you name it. And they've got a nice port in them to install an aftermarket temp gauge. Really works out pretty well.
And you're absolutely correct. The C10s, that's exactly, you got a little brass fitting and you have a little bib hose. You turn it off so it blocks off all the hose for, the hot water to go into the cab because it's still hot. So it's recirculating. So guys will block that off. Now I have seen where guys have converted where they just put a loop in because they need that water to continue to run through the water pump. So you're spot on. So if you're going to do that, he's got your heater block to allow the water to continue to flow and loop through. If you're thinking about a 6-speed, I appreciate your time today. It's Steve, right? Yep. I want to make sure. So, Steve, where can they find you online? Where do they contact you?
Our website is www.lojkits.com, K-I-T-S. You can find us on Instagram at LOJ Conversions, Facebook at LOJ Conversions, and we've started doing build videos on YouTube as well under LOJ Conversions. So you can find us on any of those. If you give us a call, leave a message if we don't answer. I always do my best to return every message that I get, and if you have any more questions, I'd be happy to talk to you about it.
Awesome. Thank you so much for your time today.
All right, thank you.
C10 Nation. For over 16 years, truck builders continue to choose AccuAir suspension for their air management solution. Today, that choice gets even easier. Endo CVT by AccuAir. CVT. Compressor, valve, tank. Takes all of the components that previously needed to be pieced together and integrates them into an all-in-one, easy-to-install unit. That means an internal compressor with a built-in air dryer, smart sensors to keep everything running smooth, valves in the tank caps, and a plug-and-play harness. The best part? Silent. Library silent. No more buzzing compressors. Finally. Are you ready to choose the latest and greatest in air management? See it and try to hear it for yourself by heading to endo.accuair.com. That's endo, ENDO.accuair.com. Classic Performance Products, CPP, has a few new products out. Let's start with their new HydroStop Street Beast hydraulic assist systems. CPP's HydroStop Street Beast is a direct fit, high-performance hydraulic brake assist system that works great when running a performance engine setup and there is not enough vacuum produced to operate a traditional booster. Simply plumb into your power steering system and share the fluid reservoir with your power steering pump to your high-performance brake system. Assembled with all new parts, this unit puts out an amazing 1800 PSI at the wheels. How about their new 14-inch big brake kits? CPP now offers a 6-piston, 14-inch big brake system for your Chevy truck, featuring 2-piece pre-assembled drilled, slotted, and zinc-coated rotors, 6-piston billet aluminum calipers with DOT-compliant dust and weather seals, premium stainless hardware, and braided stainless brake hoses. These brakes work with their modular and Corvette-style spindles. Remember, use C10 Talk at checkout and save 10% off your order. Damn, son, 10%? www.classicperform.com.
All right. We are moved away a little bit from the vendor area, and this sweet little stepper caught my eye earlier because it's kind of unique in that it has the U.S. Army colors and some U.S. Army for official use stampage on it. Scott Schoenfelder out of Portland, Oregon, fellow listener, which is cool. So thanks for listening, Scott.
Sure.
Tell us about your truck, brother.
So my truck, it's I call it your basic little C10 budget build. I did a 5.3, the LS1 intake and injector setup, and just did a tick LS1 cam. Junkyard straight out of my buddy's truck next to me, C56. 8.8 from a 99 Mustang GT. CPP drop coils and blocks in the back, stock trailing arms. The front has CPP modular spindles and cut down Hotchkiss springs, sport springs. So we're running like a 5.5, 7 drop or so, somewhere in that range. 275, 40, 18 Hankook RS4s. They're old. They still work though. 18x9 Rev 107 wheels, and just basically we keep it waxed. We buffed it, wax it to this beautiful patina shine that it has now, and keep the motor nice and clean all the time and have fun with it.
So one thing I didn't hear you mention is brakes. What brakes are you running?
Stock brakes.
What?
Stock C10 brakes in the front.
Do you read what my hat says?
Yeah.
Damn, son.
Yes.
Stock brakes.
Stock brakes. Well, I mean, disc brakes.
Yeah, you've converted but you're
over.
Converted over what, like 73, 71, 72? Where?
They are 73. It's the CPP kit, disc brake kit on the front. And then the factory GT brakes in the back. The rear axle's straight out of a junkyard with the still junkyard calipers on it, new pads, new rotors.
Well, it seems to be working. You are 5-lug converted, so when you did it, you 5-lug converted. Now, all the stuff you said was cool because this is a really cool truck. But tell us about the truck, dude.
What about the truck?
Well, it's a U.S. Army truck. I mean, that's pretty rad. How did you get this truck?
So it's kind of funny how this truck came along. It's an Army truck that was used down in Florida, and ex-girlfriend saw it, wanted to buy it for me, missed it, and then it popped back up like 3 months later just on Craigslist. And so I went and bought the truck. We broke up like a month and a half later, and instead of an engagement ring, I built the truck. And first round was swapped out the 250 and the 3 on the tree for a 292 and a T5. helped a buddy who's also here running a Volvo, helped him do a M3 swap in a 3 Series BMW. Then a motor ended up on my doorstep, literally. Like in my garage, a motor showed up one day. Kept the T5, blew it up last year, blew third gear out of it Sunday before LS Fest, put a new tranny in it Monday, raced all weekend, did autocross all weekend, and then Labor Day weekend is when I blew everything up in the T5 with doing a little burnout. Second gear, S10 T5, 300 horsepower, did not get along. So that's where the T56 came along, and a couple little things here and there over the winter to get it ready for this year. So
how long has this been? Like when you go back to this girlfriend engagement, how many years have you had this truck?
December will be 4 years. I bought it December of 2015. Redid it started working on it March of 16, finished it driving around again July of 16. Then 17 got the motor. Then 18 got the rear axle because I blew up the 12-bolt tube because that's a thing that happens when you put power down. And so, yeah, it's just been like every winter I'm working on it. Every summer I go enjoy it and just beat the crap out of it.
It's like a cycle of seasons with you. Yeah. Now, did you fly out to Florida and look at this thing? Did you just have it shipped sight unseen?
No, it was actually in Portland. So it was on
to the Florida part.
That's where it was from. That's where it lived. That's where it served its time. But it was on.
It was for sale in Portland.
Yes, it was for sale in Portland. And
any history on the whole Army part?
The only thing that I know is decoded off the stickers on the bumpers. It was a runway crew truck. So what I imagine is it was taking supplies and crew members from the planes to the barracks and vice versa. So
any thought on that hood, because you've got this darker old school mash looking green, and then it looks like on the hood there's some different lighter color forest green that is on the hood. What's going on with that?
It's all original hood and everything. That's just what the sun has done to it over the years. So it's got a beautiful patina all over the entire truck. Everything but the front fenders is original. The front fenders were originally white when I got it, so they've been replaced. But yeah, you can
kind of see it right there.
Yeah, exactly. The color doesn't quite match on the fenders.
It's like it was an Air Force truck, like Air Force blue, and then some Army guys are like, we're painting it Army green now.
That's possible. Yeah. I have no idea.
Well, it looks cool. It looks cool with your plate. You've got some markings, like you said, on the bumper. Now let's go over here to the interior. You got some cool kind of more race style seats, and then those gauges are pretty hip.
Yeah, so on the seats, they're the Kirky low back buckets. I built it with autocross in mind, even when it saw the inline 6. So I had the V8, of course, I needed to go fast. Raced it for an entire season on a bench seat and a lap belt. Last year for LS Fest, I did the Kirkies with still a lap belt because I didn't have enough time to get the harnesses in. So this is the first time having full 5 points in the truck. I just did the harness bar, finished it up Saturday. Gauges, I just refinished the factory gauges. I found a Bosch tack that goes to $8,000, a mount that goes to the factory gauges on the 67 to 72 Chevy Truck Forum, and yeah, just redid it all, make it look factory, make it look nice. I still have its mechanical oil pressure, and then still the factory sender for the temp gauge. And then I have a Dakota digital signal converter to go from the T56 to the cable speedometer. Yeah. So everything works like it's supposed to. Everything looks like it's supposed to. I was really bummed when Dakota Digital didn't have a period correct gauge pod, and I see that now they do. They do. But I'm stuck.
You're not stuck because that really matches the truck, and it's very clean and very well done. I like to see that your door has the same. My door swung too far open and creased up against the fender. You got a lot of character there.
So on the doors, they're both like that. If you saw the other side too, and what we're guessing is in the Army truck on how, like in the Army, when you go to open a door, you just pull the latch and you donkey kick the door as hard as you can. And it goes up and hits the fender and hits the cowl panel and all that. And it just gives it a little bit more character.
Yeah, a little bit more on top of a little bit more, and it ends up with a lot because it's got a lot of character. Do you have a name for this thing?
I just call it the Army truck.
How's the Army truck doing out there?
It's doing pretty good. My best time was a 31.9. So this course, the fast guys are running like the 28, 29. Slow guys are running 33 and up. So I'm pretty much middle of the road. Seems to be about how it does in autocross.
And you're just, this is your hobby. This is something you do for fun. Are you a big C10 enthusiast? You just like this truck? You just like to go fast in autocross?
All of it.
All of it? All the above?
All of the above. My dad actually had a 64 short step side when he was in high school. And when I was in high school, I really wanted one. So we kind of made this plan, father-son build, like this is what I want to do. The 570, I think the 572 had just come out, so we're like, going to be 572, 9-inch rear, big slicks, go have fun with drag race, auto transmission. And then my buddy, he had a Ford F100 with a Coyote. I started watching what he was doing, and I was like, well, let's not do the 572.
You lost the C10 bug? Is that what you're saying?
No, I didn't lose the C10 bug at all. He made it stronger.
Oh, good.
Because I was like, I wanted a drag truck, like a street truck, drag truck. And then he did the Optima challenge a couple of times in that Ford. I'm like, well, I want to go around corners.
Oh, okay,
that looks way more fun.
Bug got going.
Autocross bug got me. And yeah, I've got, I have fun with it mostly. I'm not going to win anything in autocross, but having people take pictures, want to put the GoPros on the truck and want to go for rides, that's what it's all about for me. I just want to come out here and have fun, beat up on the old truck and trailer it back home.
Now, what do you do by day?
I'm a new product development engineer for a Subaru speed shop in Portland. Then I work on the off-road division of Rally Tech, and the shop we run out of is Performance Race Engineering. So it kind of goes hand in hand. When I was looking for a job, they were looking for an engineer, being the engineer into the performance, the racing, and all of that with my truck. It's been a lot of fun. So
that experience kind of paid off.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, honestly, through autocross is how I got the job there. So if I didn't autocross, I wouldn't be working where I am now.
All you people out there need to just go autocross. You might get a job out of the deal.
Exactly. Just go have fun. It doesn't matter if your truck's fast, if it's slow, if it leans way over, if you're stock suspension with no sway bars, still manual steering, go have fun.
Have fun. Where can they follow you and find you on social media?
So on Instagram, you can find me. My tag is scoot_McGroot, or hashtag Army Truck is one that I like to use. You'll see a lot of Army trucks, and then you'll know which one's mine. The only one that's kind of modified at all. Do a lot of posting there on Instagram with this truck mostly.
Okay, so Scoot_McGroot, that's a pretty cool little name. And then hashtag Army Truck. Facebook as well, same name or different?
Facebook, yeah. You've got Scoot McGroot Schoenfelder, because that's just what I felt like doing a while ago. So I've got a really, really long Facebook name. But yeah, you can just look up Scoot McGroot there as well and find me.
Okay. If you guys want to check this truck out, obviously I'll post it. It's got a lot of character. The Army Truck, Scoot McGroot, _, in there somewhere in between.
In between.
And you can check it out. I'm sure he has a lot of progress pics on there. But when are you going to race again?
Should be racing here in probably 15, 20 minutes.
Cool. We'll try to get some action of him out there. Thanks, Scott, for your time, and thanks for your support as a listener. It's a rad truck, and really this is what it's all about.
Yeah, exactly, for sure. It's been a lot of fun, really, really fun journey, and glad that I found the C10 Talk guys.
Yeah, we're glad we found you. Thanks, buddy.
Yeah, thank you.
All right. We're working our way around the track. One thing that's nice about LS Fest is you got a lot of horsepower in the background, so it's music to our ears, and it's kind of cool to have that ambiance, if you will. I've got Garrett Brumley. He's out of 35 Customs, Napa, California. And I guess what drew me into this truck, Garrett, was it's kind of wrapped like a bomber.
Yes.
Yeah. So what's the story on this truck?
So I was a big aviation fan. I loved World War II planes. The P-40. If you go find the American Dream, that was a lot of inspiration for the tiger's mouth down the side. The P-51 Mustang was my favorite plane growing up, and I just loved aviation. I loved the pilots. I loved everything that went into that. And this truck, I just wanted to embody a little bit of that and pay homage to that.
Have you ever followed Total? This is what my audience has to deal with. My ADD kicks in, but we'll talk about it off air. But Superfly Steiny, he built Eric Steinbreck. He's in your neck of the woods, NorCal, SAC. He built the most amazing bomber truck. probably almost 10 years ago. So we're gonna get into that. But Superfly Steiny, the man, he's built a lot of really sweet C10s. We're gonna get to that. Okay, so this thing, let's go to the motor, because that's what obviously drew us in. Now Garrett's got a new shop up there, 35 Customs, and what'd you do here? There's a lot going on here.
So we've got a custom. It started life as an LQ4 block. That's about the only thing that's left that was factory GM. We've got K1 rotating assembly, K1 rods, Wiseco pistons, 317 GM cast heads, but they've been completely pulled apart. They've got Inconel valves for the exhaust, super alloy intakes. This one we run PSI valve springs, dual valve springs, 700 lift. It's got a tick, low lash, solid lifter camshaft in it, Morel high energy lifters, solid lifters, Manton push rods, Magnum twin turbos, twin billet 69 chargers on this thing. We run 14 pounds of boost to it, E85, Holley obviously for all the electronics, the fuel management. It's been great. We're making great power with this thing. Last year we made 887. Hopefully this year we can get 1,000 horsepower of this thing.
Hopefully, what are you going to do different to go from 887 to get to 1,000?
So
tuning?
We have a little bit of tuning. We're going to try and throw a little more boost on this truck. Last year we did 887 at the tires with 18 pounds of boost. This year, if we have to, we'll go 20, 22. I think we'll make it before then. We made a couple of significant changes. We went from a 67 mil charger that we had last year to now their new Gen 4 69 mil charger. We went from a hydraulic camshaft to a solid low lash camshaft, and then we tuned up on the tuning a little bit and kind of tweaked it a little bit. The thing's making some good power now.
And I don't think I mentioned it. Let's rewind a little bit. This is a 72 stepper. Okay, 72 stepper, very clean. He's obviously went through the whole truck. It's got a cool wrap, WW2 style bomber. And there's some tribute there that we're going to get into with your mom. Is this something that are you taking this out and you're going to hit the quarter mile today, tomorrow, or is it just part of your show, your setup here?
We're actually entered as grand champions. I haven't gotten as much time to get behind the wheel as I wanted, but I did go out. I did get my road course time in. I felt confident in the truck, but I still would like to make some tweaks to the suspension. Obviously not here, but later on down the road that I think would help out. But we will be drag racing it tonight with the Grand Champion event. I still need to get in 3 runs on the autocross too. So it is going to go out and compete, and obviously we'll end up on the dyno to try and see if we can't crack that magical 1,000 horsepower number.
When you talk about the suspension, what kind of suspension do you have under this truck?
Currently it's a static drop, 2-inch Willwood drop spindles in the front. They're aluminum drop spindles. It's got stock A-arms. It's got CPP, their 3-inch drop coil in the front. The rear's a CPP 4-inch drop coil with 2-inch blocks. I'd really like to get this truck on some coilovers, really get it to, set in good in the corners. That's what it was meant for. It's fun the way it is. It's a blast, but I'd really like to get it to set a little harder.
The balance of what you're saying, because what I see here in the heartbeat is absolutely amazing, and there's a lot of money and a lot of horsepower. But then when you say that suspension, don't take this the wrong way, you're really stock. You really have. But what I want to convey to the audience within that is that you don't have to not be stock.
Right.
You could do some really crazy shit with what's there and somewhat even on a budget.
No, GM, I'll have to say this, GM did a great job designing the trucks originally. That's why they're here today. That's why we see so many of them. That's why they're so popular. They're an awesome slate, a blank slate to start with, just to begin with, and everybody loves them. I don't care if you're a Ford guy, Dodge guy, a Chevy guy. There's some story that a C10 will translate into their life, and that means so much to me. That's why I love these trucks. That's why I'm so passionate about them. They're amazing.
Yeah, and you're speaking my language. I mean, you're in my wheelhouse. It's hard to beat, or think that you could go through life or talk to somebody that didn't have a C10 somewhere, grandpa, dad, something like that. Rear end, what are you running? Stock?
We do actually. We have a built Ford 9-inch rear end in this. It runs a 390 gear. We have the TR6060 6-speed transmission. Great combo together. True track, limited slip, helical, limited slip differential. Mosier axles, nothing real crazy. Obviously, 14-inch wheel woods on all 4 corners, 4 piston calipers in the back. It's built to handle the horsepower. It does handle the horsepower. I have no complaints about it.
So let's talk about Terry Lee.
Terry Lee. Everybody asks what Terry Lee came from. Terry Lee was my mom. I get a little choked up talking about it.
All right.
My mom was how can I put this? My mom was the one that pushed me, the one that always said, good is never good enough. Don't ever settle for good. Go be great. I don't know if this truck's great, but it was her tribute. To remind everybody, don't settle for second. Go out there, just shoot for first. You don't have to hit it the first try. You don't have to hit it the second try, but go and give it everything you got. There's no such thing as failure. There's only learning. It's a new experience. It's a new learning experience. And if we lost an oil pump last year, and if it wasn't for her always pushing on me, always telling me, Garrett, get back up. Get back out there and do it again, I wouldn't be here today. And we wouldn't be running. We wouldn't be playing. We wouldn't be having a good time. We wouldn't be getting to meet everybody. I'm out here because that drive. If I can inspire anybody to do anything and give a word that she gave to me, is just don't ever give up. Give it your all. Somebody out there is watching you.
Cheers to Mom.
Cheers to Mom.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty rad. Now, I mean, what a great tribute. You know, something that, you know, you love, the C10. Mom obviously pushed you to kind of, you know, say, hey, I'm going to quit my day job and I'm going to go out and start my own company. Yep. How's that been going? It's been good. You know, the gratitude from people and seeing their enjoyment and getting to meet new people has been overwhelming, to say the least. I mean, I feel centered. I feel whole every day. You know, it's less about money. It's more about just doing what makes you happy, doing what your passion is, just giving that back to the people. And do you guys have a focus on your shop? You know, is it full builds? Is it suspension? Is it motors? What is your focus, or are you just all around? You know, our motto is your dream, your ride, our passion. You'll find that on our website. And the reason I picked that, the reason I came up with that is it doesn't matter what you're working on. I want to help you. We're all in this together as hot rodders. I don't care where you came from, where you're going. If we can do anything, I'll bend over backwards to give you an extra step, to give you that help that you need to get your project completed. You want suspension? I'll do all the research. I'll be your guy that gets you the right parts the first time, every time. It's good. I mean, and I'll be honest with you, a lot of guys need that. You know what I mean? They might have the idea, but then again, your passion. Now, I got to give you a little bit of a snafu. Our buddy Jeremy Rice, have you figured that out? There's a guy named Trey 5 Customs. I have Trey 5. I followed him. He's a great guy. He actually builds some wicked products. I love his trucks. I love everything he does. And I didn't know when I started 3.5 that he existed. I don't know where we landed timeline-wise, if 3.5 Customs was there before or after. Kudos to you, brother. That's all I got to say. If you're out there listening, just know that you are loved, and 3.5 Customs hopefully will end up with a brother at the end of the day. We need to get you a shirt. Now, the difference between you, Garrett, and Jeremy is Jeremy won't tell us what Trey 5 Customs. He won't say what Trey 5, what the meaning is. So what's the meaning for your 3.5 Customs? All right, so this is going to sound corny. It's going to sound goofy. I am a numbers nut. I like numbers. 3 is my lucky number. 5 is my wife's number. If you'll notice 3, 5, they're back to back. My wife has always had my back through thick and thin. She's always been my right hand. She's always been there when times are good, when times are bad. I can count on her for everything. So it was a way of incorporating us both without actually having our names out there, patting ourselves on the back, but just know that 3.5 embodies family, embodies custom work, and embodies that relationship that should be in everything. Cheers to wives. Cheers to wives. Cheers to moms. Cheers to wives. Cheers to wives. Yeah, so 3.5, you guys are kind of back to back. That's kind of cool. You know, like I kind of gave you a hard time earlier. I was like, oh, dude, I had to interview your wife. You were gone. So she made sure that I held tight while we waited for Garrett to get back, which we're glad we did. Any other snafus, anything really hard that you worked out on this truck that was, you know, just kind of kicked your butt, or the exact opposite you're really happy with? I can say both. We were out here. We expected to come out here the very first LS Fest in 2018 for us. We came out. We hooked the truck up to the dyno, and
I only had it on 12 pounds of boost. And I'm talking to the lady, and she goes, what do you think it's going to make? And I'm like, oh, I'd be happy with 550 horse. And she goes, okay. So I rev that thing up. We take it to 6,800. Let go of the pull. The guy says, all right, everything's good. He looks back at the lady. She goes, he just laid down 777 horsepower. I hit 777s in Vegas on the dyno for the very first time. I couldn't have been any happier. The weekend finishes with, we lose an oil pump on the third try trying to break 1,000 horsepower. The truck loses oil pressure. I'm going, what did I do wrong? You know, how did I end up here? We go back, we tear it all down. The oil pump failed. I could, you know, God willing, I couldn't be any happier that was the only problem we had. We put new bearings in it, cleaned everything up. But all in all, there's little things that you go through, and, you know, something doesn't run right or something doesn't feel right, and you're always chasing, like I said, suspension. I want new suspension. I want to get this thing to really tuck into those corners a little harder, be able to lean on it a little more. But other than that, I'm real happy. I'm happy. I'm happy people love it. I'm happy people come out and see it and just enjoy it, you know, and everybody has a different take on it, and that's awesome to me, you know. That's great.
I'm assuming that you do get quite a bit of people coming by and taking a look, especially because the way you have it staged, you've got the hood up and that motor bites.
It does. You know, we wanted to put those turbos right up front and center so people, when they walked up, they were like, oh, it's turbocharged. There's no doubt in your mind, you know. Obviously, everything's blacked out under the hood. There's kind of a theme going on, black and silver. I don't do that. A lot of crazy colors. I'm kind of a monotone kind of guy, so the truck embodies that, you know. But I think it does catch eyes pretty well, I think.
Where do we find you? Where does the audience track down Garrett and 35 Customs?
Give us a follow. You can hashtag 35 Customs at any social media, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and then come find us on our website, www.35customs.com. We're adding stuff all the time. We're giving away a Mercedes, a twin turbo Mercedes. I just couldn't be any happier to be here.
We're glad to have you. Now, let me just make sure we say that's spelled out 35. Yeah. So 35, because like Jeremy's is more of a number 35, and you are 3 spelled out, 5 Customs.
Correct. 35, all spelled out. TreeFivecusToms.com. It's nothing goofy on the last spelling. There's no Z's. There's no U's. Get that in your head and get it right.
35 Customs. Cheers to amazing moms and amazing wives. Garrett, great to meet you. Thanks for coming on C10 Talk, and I hope you have a great weekend.
Hey, man, thank you for having me. Thank you for coming over here and giving me some love on my C10. It means the world to me. I love what you do. Everybody that has a C10, I love you. Let's all be brothers. Let's have fun. I love it.
He loves it. We love it. C10 Nation, out. You've heard of Dolly World, but what about Dolly, the GMC, 1-ton, dually, boosted? She knows I love to give her a hard time. Well, you shouldn't be any stranger to Erin and her truck, Dolly. So you decided to put an LS in this thing, 6.0, and then I think you know some people at Magnuson, so she put a Magnuson supercharger. And we're here at LS Fest, Holley LS Fest, and it's a maiden voyage. So tell us about how this journey, you know, you and your husband, Dusty, you decided to do it, and what kind of went down.
Well, I don't know if you want me to start from the beginning, but we'll recap for the viewers.
Sure, yeah, recap.
About 2 years ago, found a truck on Craigslist, got it, had the original 454 Turbo 400 in it. My goal was to be able, I wanted the dually to tow my drag car, and I was going to rock the 454 for a while, and I did, about a year, but let's be honest, 5 miles to the gallon kind of sucks, especially when you got two 20-gallon tanks. So saved up some pennies, and we got an L96 out of a 2017 GMC van, and a 6L90 Trans out of a 2018 van.
So while you're there, what does that cost? So, you know, for the majority of my listeners, they're going to be pulling, 03, 04, up to maybe 08, 53, 60. What is something that is that new and low mileage? What does that run?
Well, we actually went through a company called LKQ, I believe, and we got both from them. They have a couple of warehouses, and they basically just pull stuff out of wrecked cars and trucks. And I want to say we got both. Like, for instance, the trans, we paid $900. I think it was $1,200 shipped. So, and then the engine was not much more. So for under $3,000, we were set.
You're shitting me.
No, we had a drivetrain for like $3,000. So for me, I mean, obviously that's still, a good chunk of change, but it's super affordable.
So, and then just how many miles? It was low miles.
Yeah, the engine had around 18,000 miles on it, and the trans had 4,000. So we're just broken in. I mean, we've got a long way to go.
Well, it's cool because when you factor in the truck, the drivetrain, you really have, a new truck.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, and the thing is like, I don't know how many of you, well, a lot of you probably have older trucks, but mine rides like a dream. So stock suspension on it, like everything else is still original on the truck. And I honestly wouldn't even change it because it's that good. I mean, we have our towing truck back here that we tow our big trailer with for work, and my 75 dually rides 110% better than our 2016 Chevy truck. So
there you go. You've heard it. I mean, Erin knows, and this thing, it's big, and she's got hips because it's a dually, but it rides, and you even have had camper on it and go camping with it, so it can handle the weight.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And it's actually kind of nice because she's got a little bit of a rake, but so when the camper's on, she levels out real nice, and it feels so good. So, and I'm excited to go camping now with the blower because she'll get up those hills a little quicker.
Well, and the fuel mileage won't be, quite as expensive. What about when you changed out the wheels? Did that change the ride?
I actually had a lot of people hit me up and they were like, are you sure you want to go to 19.5s? They were a little concerned for me. And I mean, I noticed the ride change a little bit, but nothing too drastic. I mean, I like the 19.5s. Obviously, visually it's a lot better. It fills out those, fender wells a little nicer. But the ride, I'm completely happy with the 19.5s.
Yeah, and you're right. They do look a little better than the 16s. So you get the motor, you get the tranny. Did you have to decide on a Magnuson, or was there a certain, like this numbered kit, it's specifically for trucks, it's specifically for the 6.0? How does that work?
Yeah, so the nice thing about obviously taking an engine and trans from a newer vehicle, so at Magnuson, we have applications specifically for certain year, make, and model. So it was a no-brainer. We knew exactly what kit was going to fit on it. So I'm running a 2300, a TVS 2300 Magnuson kit specifically for a 6-liter HD truck. So we have the calibration for it, which is nice. Obviously, we did a couple tweaks just because we put different headers on it. I mean, it was literally just the engine and trans. So we had to accommodate and tune ourselves. And my husband, he does some calibration. So that was nice. He was able to tweak that here and there. But for the most part, it's just a plug-and-play kit. It's super easy to install, and it's pretty dang clean looking.
What's something like that run?
So the truck kits, they're normally going to start at around like $56.95, upwards of $64.95.
Okay. So you're looking at about 10 then once you factor in the motor, the tranny, and then if you're going to go supercharged, which if you can, I mean, this thing looks stellar. What were some of the biggest obstacles you had on the installation or putting the 6.0 in dolly?
I mean, so the headers we got from Speed Engineering, Bowman over at Big Ten Garage, good guy. He recommended we go with those headers. He uses those on a lot of his swaps, and they worked pretty much flawlessly on ours. The only thing is that after we got everything in, we got the truck running, I was driving it for a while. We were doing some data logging, and we did notice some things had shifted. I mean, they settle, right? And noticed that we were touching just a little bit on one of the headers, we thought. So we did pull off the right side, and we notched the frame just a little bit. But other than that, everything went pretty flawlessly. Time was our biggest factor. You know what I mean? It's hard to really set aside, hey, I've got a solid week, unless you own your own shop and you've got no business. Then it's hard to dedicate that time. So here and there, and my husband Dusty, he worked a lot of late nights, and we knocked it out. So
yeah, and it fits in there. I could see a little bit here where you notched it. What about the mounts? What motor mounts did you use?
So I'm pretty sure Dustin actually ended up going with the Dirty Dingo stuff for some of our other mounts, and then we got some stuff through Holley. So we used a couple different vendors to kind of make everything work. Holley actually has a great setup right now for people doing all the LS swaps for the older.
Like a conversion page or conversion setup?
Yeah, and they're super helpful. I mean, we called them, at the time my buddy Ricky was working there, and he's like, oh, let me get you with this guy. He's going to know everything that you're going to need. And that's the nice thing about Holley. They recognize that there's a need for all of us that want to get our older trucks with, all the newer drivetrain stuff. So they really provided a lot of that. And so that was definitely my go-to. I bought a lot of stuff from them.
Looks like you have your pulley system is all original to the motor.
It is, yeah. So especially with the blower that we put on, I mean, we have a heavy duty tensioner that gets added on, but I mean, just a different belt. But we're off the original belt line.
Yeah, it's clean. It is funny to see how much room. We're standing in the sun, so I'm going to move over here. How much room she really does have. She added a Holley radiator, dual fan system. She used her, a lot of stock stuff. It all goes back. The cool thing about her truck being an HD or a 1-ton truck, it has the Hydro Boost on it. So it's all here and it's all just clean. And it's pretty funny how it just all goes back together and it'll fit in here. And it looks like it was meant to be.
And we still have room for like a little jacuzzi over there. I mean, it's...
a jack, a jacuzzi. Just kind of looking where they mounted everything. There's tons of room in here, obviously with the supercharger. The one thing I would be considered, as I kind of look, is how much hood clearance she has. Do you, looks like right here out of your supercharger, you're a bit like right here, but you're pretty good here. Yeah. So anything else to think about? How's the tranny, how's that working out? And obviously, did you have to get a different trans mount or did you get a new driveline?
Well, we actually, so specifically my drive shaft, we did have a company down south. We're out of California. We sent that off, and we have a new smaller piece that mounts up to the trans. So we got that redone, but reused the rest of the drive shaft.
Do you know if you had to do a different tranny mount, crossover mount?
Yes, yeah, and then we got through Holley.
Through Holley?
Yep. Yeah, we used their cross member. So I mean, it was pretty straightforward. I mean, surprisingly.
So if somebody was going to do this, what do you think besides time and money? What do you think, what's the thing that you've seen as the best benefit and what has been, again, maybe the toughest thing or the one thing where you're like, think about this before you do this because it kind of allows them to work through that?
To be honest, I think my top recommendation is just do your homework and don't be afraid to reach out to the people that have done it before and just ask a ton of questions because it is so much easier. Even if it takes you a little bit longer, do your homework up front because you would hate to buy parts. I mean, it still happens to all of us, right? You buy stuff and then you try and do it and it doesn't work and you got to swap it out. But for the most part, you don't want to buy a lot of money, put a lot of money into something and then find out I should not have gone that direction. So
if you can learn from somebody else's experience and not your lack of, or your money forward, and then you lose that money, that puts, bad memories, bad taste in people's mouths. So I think there's some trial and error that goes with that. But I think if you can reach out to the community that's out there, that's the way to do it, and not spend $1,000 and then have something go wrong and then you're frustrated.
Yeah. And also, I mean, I know that, technically, yes, me and my husband, we do have a lot of resources at our disposal, but for the most, this was, our first swap. We had never done this before, new territory. Obviously the blower was a piece of cake, but because that's what we do, but, it's doable. It's doable as long as you just do your homework.
Yeah, do your homework, reach out. Now, you have not dynoed this yet?
No, we literally just finished up the truck like Wednesday night, finished buttoning everything up, and then we'll put her down. And heck, the dyno challenge is here. Maybe I should take it on over.
Yeah, you should. What are you thinking it's going to put out?
I'm going to be happy with 450 to the wheel. So we always quote to the wheel. So
I think you should. I think you should take it over there. Does Dusty think it's ready?
I think Dusty would give me big pow-pows.
Okay, there you go. I'm going to hope that she does it while we're here today or tomorrow, and there's a dyno here. I don't know if that big trailer can handle this big truck, because it is a trailer dyno. That might be the limitation of the her doing the dyno, but...
Well, how did you think it felt?
I think it felt good. Yeah, we're here. I think the thing that I noticed was how fast it spools up. Yeah, it was quick. It puts you in your seat. So Erin took us out, and she throttled it a few times, and it definitely hooks up quick. But she thinks it's going to beat my Duramax, so we're going to have maybe a little horsepower or torque challenge. And I'm all down for a little drag racing with her. So when she's ready, I'm ready. Thanks for coming on the show.
Thanks, Ronnie.
Later.
C10 Nation. Let me tell you about my buddies Travis, his dad Jack, a.k.a. Dad, and Nick. They run Pro Performance, AZ Pro Performance. They're active in our community. They're C10 guys. They're always working on new stuff, like their new suspension line, React Suspension. They're master dealers for AccuAir, Dakota Digital, Bear, Boyd Welding, Vintage Air, and many more. They're C10 specialists and stock many fast-moving products backed by their stellar customer service. Not only do they sell C10 parts, but they live and breathe C10s and are very active in our community. Like I said, look for them at your next truck show. Nick might be there if they let him out, but usually Travis and his dad, Jack, and they want to talk to you and help you out with your C10 project. Follow them on Instagram, Facebook, and you can also check out their Facebook group called C10 Addiction. So check them out and let them know that I sent you. You've heard me talk about my gauges, Dakota Digital. I love them. Don't forget the interior of your build. Dakota Digital has the best gauges for our trucks, whether you want a direct fit into the stock bezel or something custom. These kits are complete with sensors for any engine. The new RTX series is really incredible. I think it stands for retro, but it should stand for rad. They look just like the stock clusters, but have all the technology you'd expect from Dakota Digital. You can change the lighting colors, customize the reading in the message centers, and do it all from the mobile app. That's right, the HDX and RTX series have Bluetooth technology, so you can mess with them from your phone. Just don't do it while you're driving. I mean, literally, I can have Yellowstone. I'm looking at RPM, trip odometer, percent fuel, oil pressure, and now I have the GPS set up. I can tell you direction, elevation, and even outside temp. Damn, son, it's like a modern truck, but even better in a classic. Dakota Digital is absolutely the best in aftermarket gauges, so check them out at dakotadigital.com. dakotadigital.com, and you can follow them on Instagram and Facebook too.
Well, I'm going to stand right here. So Mr. Dan Glauser, you might know him from, I would say he has two famous videos on social media with this truck. I don't know if you were a senior or junior, but Dan and I went to the same high school, and if you listen to the GSI episode, you heard how there's a lot of us that went to the school in Mesa, Arizona called Mountain View, and I'm just going to start calling it C10 High because there's a lot of people that went to this high school. So one day, and I had already met Dan. I met him at I met him at Good Guys, and you might have been 16.
I was racing autocross.
Yeah, and I'm like, and there's the sticker. So he has a sticker that's been on this truck for 4 or 5 years from the beginning, still on his truck. But again, bear with me here. Probably the two famous videos for Dan are one tearing out of the high school parking lot, which going to school there for 3 years, as soon as I saw the video of the street and him leaving, I knew he was, where he was at. So if you could think of a blue and white 6970 rolling out of a high school parking lot, that's one of Dan's most famous videos. And then a really cool video, and there's a ton of meaning, and it is a sad situation, but was the second video where he had his dad's casket. His dad passed away probably about 3 years ago? 2 years ago?
Just under 2 years ago.
Right when you got back from your mission?
Yeah.
Under 2 years ago, his dad passed away, and Jimmy Glauser, and because Jimmy essentially meant so much to Dan, of course, and then taught him so much, you guys, made that decision. So when you think about those two videos and you think about your timeline and your truck and everything, what does that what does that do for you?
I don't know. I just have a ton of memories with the truck, spending time in the garage with my dad working on it and getting pissed off every time I break it. Seems like it's always broken, but I don't know. It's a fun truck. I'd never let it go.
Do you think it's broken because you break stuff or because shit's just weak, or why? Because, you're pretty hard on your stuff.
Oh, I beat the hell out of everything. Oh, yeah. The truck's had 7 transmissions, 3 rear ends, 2 different motors. It's been on 3 different suspension setups.
And just so the audience, I really need to do a good job of painting this picture for you. Dan's right forearm is completely scabbed over. And if you go to his social media, I think it's Dan Glauser, one word, Glauser. He tried to do some sort of motocross freaking motorcycle wheelie and ate shit. And so now we know why, he breaks everything. So go back, and you and your dad in the garage and how you got into these trucks, because you're still a young man. You 22?
Yeah, 22.
So you're 22. I met you 4 years ago. You were still in high school. Yeah. How did you get into these things?
So I had a 69 Camaro was my first car. My dad was super into Camaros and muscle cars, and I kind of just liked the trucks. My dad had a 69 and I really liked driving it, and my Camaro, I was having a lot of problems with it, and I just decided, I'm going to buy a truck, and it was all downhill from there, I guess. The truck scene's way better than the car scene. The car scene's a bunch of old dudes. The truck scene's younger guys, and it's way more fun. The get-togethers are way cooler, and I don't know, it just kind of fit. I'm just a truck guy. I'm not really into cars too much. I still have a Camaro, and I have fun with it, but I just like the trucks.
So when you think about the time you and your dad kind of wrenching, and then you made that crossover, it seemed like, did he like the trucks too?
Dude, yeah, oh yeah. As soon as I bought my truck, we started buying parts, and then there wasn't a good deal on Craigslist we could pass up. We've got a fleet of about 25 of them now.
And some Porterbuilt, I know you were tight with Nate, and so they pretty much have the specialty down, 67 to 72s, maybe a long, and then they have Kyle cut them down. Porterbuilt, your recipe is it's kicking ass.
Yeah, it's working out. It's fun. Loving the trucks.
Now you're going to school up in Utah, and then you're moving back down to Arizona soon?
Yeah, so I'm actually on my way home from Utah to Arizona right now. Stopped in Vegas, went to LS Fest, and then I'll roll home, be home all summer.
What do you think about that video, and what kind of, when you think back to that decision, obviously it's super sad. Your dad was a young man. To think, hey, I'm going to haul dad away in my truck. I'm gonna put the casket in the truck. Was that something that was your decision, your family's, your mom?
Yeah, that was my family and me. I remember being a little 2, 3, 4-year-old kid. My earliest memories in the church parking lot in the backseat of a 69 Charger sliding sideways with my dad. He's I don't know, he's like the Burnout King. Every weekend I'd be like, hey, Daddy, let's go for a ride in the black Camaro, and that mean we were going to go shred the church parking lot. They actually put parking curbs in the one right by our house because we tore it up so much. They did that, and so
the Glauser curbs.
Yeah, so they put those parking curbs in, but we just moved to a different one. But the hearse just kind of wasn't. It's not him. He's not. It didn't fit. So the guy who owned the funeral home, when we were walking him out of the church where we had the funeral, and we're gonna drive him over to the grave site, says, you can do as many burnouts as you want. He knows who I am. He knows I'm a Glauser, but just don't do any with him in the back. And I said, yeah, okay, dude, yeah. Second we set him down, I put a strap across the back and lit him up down the street. Went first, second, third, probably a good, football field, maybe longer. Burning them, went through a whole set of tires, blew my transmission I put in the night before, and totally worth it.
Totally worth it. Your dad had a big smile on his face, and how else to go out?
Yeah, oh, for sure. He loved the truck. This truck since day one's just kind of been a burnout machine. My dad would get calls from all the neighbors all the time, and he only said something to me one time. He said, this is the 12th call this week. you got to chill out, bro. 1 o'clock in the afternoon coming out of Circle K is not the time to put it sideways. So,
did you ever get any flack for the Mountain View Lindsay one?
No, I didn't. No, not at all.
I saw somebody recently, I want to say, so that was when you were still in high school, so let's just say that was 3 to 4 years ago. Yeah. I saw somebody within the last 12 months repost that, and because really? Social media is so crazy, it like hadn't existed, you know? It's like, oh yeah, we forgot about that, and then it probably had another 100,000 followers or something like that.
So yeah, I'm all about sliding, and we got something in the works. We'll have a new video hopefully that's better soon.
What's your schooling? What are you going to get into? What's your specialty, or what are you trying to? What are you going to become?
My dad was an orthodontist, and I worked there for a few months, and I hated it. So I'm going to get a business degree, but I want to do something with cars, something in the machining world. I'm super into like CNCing and things like that, and but right now just a business degree. Still trying to figure out what I'm doing. Right now I'm running a little shop. We're only building like two builds at a time. I have like one employee.
That's the one at your house?
Yeah. So we're just doing little tinkering here and there. It helps pay for this blue truck to still stay on the road, and I don't know. We'll see where it goes.
So tell us about the blue truck. You've got a few motors in this truck. It's definitely built for autocross and handling and racing. There's not much stock about this truck.
Yeah, just the body. I love the look of a stock body, and it's kind of a sleeper. I don't know.
So what motor do you have in it right now?
It's a 383 stroker, Don Hardy 383 full rotating assembly, and then it has a 75-76 precision turbo. It's got an e-boost too, so I can switch high boost, low boost. I can go 91, and then I can go E85. Has meth injection, and then just a reverse manual turbo 400 with a billet bell housing. I kept breaking cases. I broke like 3 cases, so this one seems to be working. This one has like 500 miles on it, no problem, so that's good.
It's proven now. It's got 500 miles.
Oh, for sure.
Well, what do you think about, one of the things I was talking about with one of the Holley guys is how Holley's one of those companies that, you go back to your dad, your grandpa, and Holley was around and Holley's recognized. But Holley's somehow been able to also capture the young generation. As a young man, 22 years old, what do you kind of, how does the C10 movement or the truck movement stay alive with young guys when you have so many other options?
I think the truck is honestly, the young guys are I don't know why they're into the truck so much. It's probably because of the scene, and I think it's also just, they're so easy to work on, man. It's like a tin can. I could pull my whole truck apart in a day, I
think I've seen you do that. Like, you've literally pulled it apart in a day.
Yeah, for sure. And I don't know, it's just the look, and I don't know, I grew up in one of these. I came home from the hospital in a 70 4x4, and I have the truck. I claimed it as a little kid, so it's just kind of been around forever. So I don't know.
It's in your blood.
Yeah, it's just kind of in my blood. It's just, I would never sell this truck or that truck. I'm just kind of, I don't know, I'm a truck guy.
So if you think back to that first time, I can literally remember you were up top at Good Guys. I walked up to you. We talked. I think you're like, give me a shirt. I sent you a shirt. You got the sticker still on your truck, which is cool. Where's Dan Glauser going to be 4 or 5 years from now?
I'll be in Mesa for sure.
Building stuff?
Building trucks. Hopefully this blue truck's next level. Hopefully it's something crazy. I got some ideas.
Well, I think everybody loves this truck. We obviously we know this truck is yours, and you guys go hand in hand together. So I hope you don't sell it. I don't think you will. And we look forward to big things coming out of the Jimmy Speed Shop soon, out of Mesa, Arizona. So for the audience, make sure you follow him at Dan Glauser. You don't have you always just hashtag it, right? Or do you have at Jimmy Speed Shop?
Jimmy Speed, yeah. Started it a few months ago. It's doing pretty decent.
So that's where we could see some of the more at Jimmy Speed. Is it at Jimmy Speed Shop?
No, just at Jimmy.
Okay, at Jimmy Speed. You guys, Jimmy Speed, 2 S's. Jimmy's Speed. Yeah, okay. Yeah. SS, Jimmy's Speed. And you guys can follow him there. The guy is a hustler. He's a hard worker. And most importantly, he likes to have fun. And that's what it's all about.
Thanks, Ronnie.
Okay, man. Don't move that sticker. Thanks, Dan. Late. All right, guys. Sometimes in the land of what's down, sometimes you might see something that's up. We've got Devin, grew up in Vegas, but now he's up in NorCal. And he's got a 79 K5 Blazer, It's speaking my language. It's orange and white. He literally has the Traxxas RC in the back. It's almost like hand in hand. The two look so similar. So because it's 79, it's a full top. Devin, tell us about this Blazer, how you got it, and how you ended up with an LS in it.
Well, first of all, it was our family truck. I learned how to drive on this truck, and then we were testing out the four-wheel drive one day and rolled it, so it was a full body off.
Were you in it when it rolled?
Yeah, I was. I cut my head. I crawled out of the back window, the slider window, and my dad was so disappointed he left it there. And friends of ours came and got it and said, no, this is your truck. This is who you are. And little by little, we put a different body on it, and then we painted the valance and set the grill up in the garage, and from there, it had to be done. It just looked too good with the color combination. And long story short, I got tired of watching it sit because the motor was blown, and 5.3 came along, 4L60. I found the right shaft to make it functional four-wheel drive with the 205 in it. And
so how do you convert over to that? So if you're doing a LS with a 4L60, what adapter converts over to an NP205?
Okay, so the output shaft is too long on it for a 205 setup. So you have to get it's a custom shaft, but you just build your 4L60 with the right output shaft for a 205, and the adapter goes right on, 205 goes on. And what was nice about it, I kept the cross member in the same location, drive lines worked, and it just went right in.
So what adapter do you buy? Like, is there like advanced adapters, or just there's a bunch of different companies that have adapters to adapt for a 4L62 and NP205?
I mean, Advanced Adapters does make some, but you can use your factory setup because the TH350 adapter and 205 with the correct output shaft on a 4L60, an early 4L60.
That makes sense. So you're using the
LT 4L60
or the Turbo 350 output shaft adapting onto a 460 to go to a 205.
Technically, yeah, kind of. It's not an exact 205, but it's the 700 R4 4L60 output shaft that's been shortened to accept a 205. They used to be $400. Now they're about $220.
Do you, if somebody's wanting to convert and they have a four-wheel drive, is it best to get the setup, especially the tranny, out of a four-wheel drive? Does that make the transition easier?
If you want a 205, no, it doesn't. And if you're going to stick with stock stuff from an LS, what sucks is they switch the driveline side that it's on. So a square body has a passenger side driveline, and all your LS cars are going to come with a driver side driveline.
Well, and if I remember from 67, 72 four-wheel drives that I've had, they're also passenger. MP205 kicks out on the passenger side.
Yeah. So I've heard of guys getting a Ford MP205 and possibly getting a custom adapter to get the driveline on the correct side. But or running a Ford front diff to get the driveline on the right side. So there's different ways to do it. It's kind of what you have. You work with what you got. And
I like that. It's kind of what you have, work with what you got. And I'm sure we won't bore you too much on adaptation to a 205 or even a 203, but the bottom line is you guys did it. For the audience, I'm sure you can get online. There's probably a wealth of information on there. I just sometimes hear, if you have a four-wheel drive, you're wanting to put it in a four-wheel drive, try to get it, the stuff out of a four-wheel drive truck, probably make things a little easier. So you've had this Blazer pretty much your whole life, and you resurrected it, and now you're out here, and it has an LS in it. Are you using it as a tow pig? Are you driving it? Are you burning it out? What are you doing with it?
Oh, I whatever. As right now, I let my dad enter it. He was supposed to do the true street, but he got a little cold feet. He's a little nervous. I'm doing the autocross, but I had to bring it out and just let everybody see it.
What's the response been? I mean, it's we're in a sea of two-wheel drives, and then to have a rad-ass orange and white two-tone K5 Blazer, people are probably loving this thing.
Oh yeah, every time I park it somewhere for an event, someone has to come up and tell me about it. And I almost feel like a broken record, but I'll tell everybody about it. They come over, I'll walk you through it.
What's your favorite part, kind of growing up and now seeing this thing out here?
Yeah, seeing its different life cycles. Because I remember it when it was brown and when we rolled it. And to us, it's just like, oh, it's our truck, but we see the recognition when we come to events like this.
You seem like a builder. What else you got? What else you got in the pot?
I got a Mopar too, but out here I got my GTA Trans Am with a 5.7 in it. I got another third gen with a 6.0. I got my Suburban with a 6.0. That's my trail rig though. But as another square body, I had to go LS, you know. I got my ass kicked a long time ago and I joined the club.
Cool. Well, I'll tell you what, I know he had some friends that were coming in to eat lunch, and he was, getting ready to take off, and I grabbed him real quick. It's a sweet ride. It's a classic. We all remember him, and it's just one of those things where it's such a timeless machine that we can all look at and enjoy, and I'm glad you brought it out. Thanks for taking time to talk to us.
Oh, thank you. Thanks for having me, and yeah, you come see the Blazer, come on over, say hi.
All right, guys. Thanks, Evan. When you see people sitting around looking at something, it's worthwhile. And I've seen this Jimmy rolling throughout the show this week. Mark, you've got a stunner here. Mark, welcome to C10 Talk. Tell us about your Blazer, or I should say your Jimmy.
Well, it's a 1971 Jimmy. I bought it about 2 years ago, and it's a frame off. What's neat about this one is it looks pretty stock, like it's just a lowered stock one. Most of the mods are underneath the skin. You pop the hood. It's got a turbocharged all aluminum 5.3. I've got a 6-speed automatic out of a ZL1. It's got C6 Z06 engine oil cooler, ZL1 transmission oil cooler, power steering cooler, Hydro Boost, Garrett turbo, C4 Corvette from Flat Out Engineering, Hot Rods to Hell rear suspension, double adjustable QA1s all the way around. So I drove it down yesterday from Sacramento, and I didn't realize what kind of legs this thing had coming down 15. I was running 85 miles an hour at 2,300. It's an awesome truck.
Well, and you did allude to the time you drove it from British Columbia a little different.
Yeah, that had an old 350 in it, and I didn't know that the guy put 410s in it, so it was a long drive coming down from British Columbia. The overdrive was working, and then it wasn't working, so I made it about to Reading and had to let it cool off a bit to get the overdrive to work, because 70 miles an hour felt like I was just screaming going down the road. But I made it home okay, and the thing gets a lot of attention. It's a fun truck.
What are you geared at now?
I have 350 gears and a 29-inch tall tire. I'm about 12% taller than a CTS-V as far as the final drive ratio, so it rolls on down the road really well.
So do you have let's come over here and look at the motor. Do you have a background kind of in automotive? Obviously it sounds like between Cadillacs and Corvettes, you definitely know your way around that, and you just kind of put it all in a rad-ass GMC Jimmy.
Well, it's funny because in December I retired after 33 years working for General Motors Corporation. So I was a fleet account executive service for GM for the last 10 years. So I had 8 states for fleet service and do a lot of technical stuff and interface with engineering, and I'm kind of a gearhead. So
yeah, I could tell you definitely know what you're doing and talking about here. So what'd you do under the hood here? You've got a turbo, you've got a Garrett turbo, you've got a CR radiator, you've got some different, I don't even know how you say that, Durali performance fans there.
It's got a SpearTech harness. I'm running a 13 Corvette engine and transmission file with all the ZL1 Camaro transmission settings. So I haven't put it on a dyno yet. It has about 800 miles on the fresh build. Still got break-in oil in it. My machinist told me, okay, just don't wail on it until we get back and change the oil. You're good. So this next week we'll put it on the dyno. I have a hobby. I do tuning. So I have HP tuners, and their software is awesome, and I'm going to have a fun time with this thing. I'm hoping to make 550 to the tires.
You just let the cat out of the bag. That HP tuning, that's your hobby. I know sometimes in Phoenix it takes months to get a guy to come tune your stuff.
Yeah, well, I'm out of Sacramento, and the last couple of weeks have been pretty crazy with everybody getting ready for LS Fest. My wife got pretty mad at me because I'm helping everybody get their cars ready to get down here. So it's 12-hour days for the last couple of weeks. It was pretty crazy.
Mark's a good friend to have. So are these Detroits? Are these the Del Reys? What'd you use here? Okay, so you've got a 20-inch, 20 by 11 Del Rey. So for the audience, the Del Rey is kind of has that old school rally, the 15s obviously, but they give it that rally sport look. He's got the GMC caps on there. What was the thought on the green?
It came that way, and this is actually really close to the factory color, medium olive metallic. So I've seen multiple vehicles that are the same color. It's funny, when I bought this thing, some guy cloned the ad from eBay, and these things were going worldwide on Craigslist with this guy trying to advertise this thing. So one of my buddies was emailing with the guy trying to get him to come out a little bit on who it was trying to scam her. Oh, I'm in the military. I live overseas. I had it shipped over here. Give me a deposit. Blah blah blah. But the guy didn't fall for it. But if you search 71 Custom Jimmy under Google Images, this is the picture that comes up.
There you go. I don't even need to repost it. So it sounds like it was obviously something that catch somebody's eye, and it was scan worthy, because obviously it is. One of the things I used to call the C10 Crew Blazer was the El Tortuga, because it looks like a turtle. He's got the medium olive. A lot of times when we see the medium olive mark, it's obviously a lot more faded, not quite this shiny and bright. So you guys obviously just laid down some paint, and then you went with a brown top. You don't see that very often.
It came this way. That's what caught my eye on this. And I saw this thing on eBay, and the guy was in Canada, and I said, look, I'm a stupid American. I don't have a passport. All I do is work. Can you bring it across the border if I buy it? And he's like, sure. Turns out the guy was in the car business. We're friends on Facebook and on Instagram, a really cool guy. And he brought it across, and we drove it back up to the border. I had all my paperwork ready. It cost $6 to import it back into the U.S., and I drove it home. And it had the body and paint and colors all done just like you see them.
But you repainted it or no?
No, it's just like I bought it.
Oh, wow, yeah. Very clean. And it's got kind of a beige tan top. And then what's really nice about it is obviously kind of a saddle deerskin interior to go with it. What gauges you got there?
Those are the HDX from Dakota Digital. Yeah, they're unbelievably gorgeous gauges.
Yeah, I have the VHX, and I love them. My audience gets to hear about it all the time. How about AC? What are you running?
It's got vintage air, AC, full AC system. Yeah, it's just a really mechanically a wonderful vehicle.
Got a nice stereo system in it. A nice thing about the Blazer, behind the front seats, just there to the right of the back seat, you can always put a nice 6x9 or a 10 or something like that. So you've got a little system. And you drove it all the way down?
I drove it from Sacramento. I left about 7:30 yesterday morning and was here about 4:30 yesterday afternoon.
Did you feel like did you come with a caravan, a group of people, or you felt pretty confident in its ability to make it all the way down?
I did, and it rolled on really awesome. Had no issues.
How about since you've been out here, what's the response been?
Well, everybody thinks it's a really pretty vehicle, and it looks like a really stock mild one, which is what I wanted, but then you pop the hood, and nobody suspects I'm packing.
You're packing. That's a great way of looking at it. He's packing. Where do they follow you on social media or Facebook?
I'm Romans Designs on Instagram and Mark Romans on Facebook.
Okay, Mark Romans, and then Romans Design on Instagram. Most of my audience probably going to find you on Instagram. They can check it out. Do you have some pictures of the Blazer?
I do.
Do you have a name for this thing?
No, I should ask my daughter to name it, because she's just finishing up school in Indiana, and she says she can't wait to come go for a ride, and she loves her. So it's going to have a female name, I guess.
All right, that's good. That's it's one rad Blazer, and or Jimmy, I should say. It's easy to kind of say that. I like the wood grain too, because that adds to it. Mark, you did a great job, and thanks for taking time to talk to the C10 Nation and spend some time with C10 Talk.
Love it, and no rice.
No rice. He's packing. All right, guys, late. All right. If you want tacos, you want hamburgers, you want, I don't know, what else you guys serve out of the lunch truck besides Boost?
Lots of donuts.
Lots of donuts. We're standing in line. We're getting ready to do some donut patrol stuff, and the lunch truck is here. And not only myself, but a few of the other fellas, including Cletus, we thought that this thing was actually serving up tacos. And Sandy from Instagram, it's going to be _racing. Sandy, welcome to C10 Talk. This is one rad-ass truck. Tell us about your truck.
Well, I bought it a week ago. Decided to put an LS in it, threw a turbo on it, and here we are.
So you put a 6.0 and a turbo, and what tranny?
400 was in the truck when I got it.
All right. So he's like, hey, let's go to LS Fest. We don't have anything to take. Let's take a lunch truck.
I was on Craigslist. It was the easiest thing to swap.
And you had a 6.0 sitting?
Had a 6.0 sitting there.
So what year is 6.0, and how long did that take you? Is that something you're obviously pretty proficient at?
I think it's like a 08 or 10 6.0. Don't know. Bought it off Craigslist.
Now, is this something you're going to keep and just have a fun time with it, or you just brought it out for LS Fest and you'll go on to the next project?
Yeah, probably go on to the next project after that. Everything's for sale if you got enough money.
So if you want a badass or rad-ass 6.0 with a 400 and you want to serve tacos, burritos, hamburguesa, maybe some horchata, whatever you want, you could serve it out of this thing. So what's going on in the back here?
It's nothing. It's all gutted out.
Well, now when you get ready to do the donut patrol, is that going to be pretty light? The whole ass end of this thing going to fall off?
No, I don't think so.
Put some weight back there?
No, there's no weight. We tried to get as much weight out of it as possible.
So it's is it a C30 or C20?
C30.
What year?
89.
89. So it's an 89. No way. No, he's crazy. It ain't 89 because it's a square. Maybe a 79.
Oh, yeah. 79. Excuse me. It is a 79.
79. I'm like, it ain't an 89. All right, so it's a 79 C20, and it's literally the lunch truck. Let me look in the inside here. They're serving Boost Up since 79. Interior looks beautiful. Custom deluxe. It's all here, man. Crack dash. This thing, I bet this thing served up a lot, made a lot of construction workers happy, Sandy. And honestly, he just lifted up the side. It's all here. It's all probably not working, but somebody used this truck for a long time.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure they did.
So what'd you pay for this thing?
$800.
$800. I'm telling you right now, those wheels are worth some money. So if you sell it, you need me to take those 8-lug steelies off your hands. What's on the other side?
It's totally gutted on the other side. There is nothing on.
So whoever was serving out of this side.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that, the guy that I got it from didn't use it as a lunch truck. I think he was doing locksmith work out of it.
Really? That's pretty rad, dude. It's all literally, for you guys in the C10 Nation world, it's all just lunch trucked out. I mean, it's all shiny. I'll get a picture of it real quick and post it up on social media. I definitely am going to need a shirt. What's the response been?
Pretty crazy. People like it. They dig it.
Where are you based out of?
We're out of California, Southern California, Costa Mesa.
So is this something that you and your boys, I see a lot of lunch truck shirts on around us. You guys are just in with all this hoopla and you're like, let's build something fun, let's build something crazy, and let's just go kick ass at Ellis Fest.
Yeah, exactly. We just wanted to come and have fun.
What's next for you guys? If we subscribe, we get on your Instagram, we follow you on YouTube or social media, what kind of crazy shit are we seeing?
You'll never know. You never know.
Do you know?
Nope. We do this unplanned. It's on a whim.
Sounds like you might be like my buddy Josh over here from Vague. That's pretty rad. This is a cool truck. Sandy, right?
Yep.
Okay, Sandy, they can follow you at again.
That's it, or that's _it_racing.
The lunch truck, 1979 C20, still out there doing it. 6.0 with a 400. Pretty rad stuff. Thanks, Sandy.